Folks, the Floyd Mayweather situation is getting worse and worse by the day, and new details of another great big lawsuit that he is facing has just surfaced. And this is all related to the apparent finesse that he allegedly pulled when it came to the supposed fight that he was lining up to actually box Mike Tyson in the ring, okay? The real Iron Mike. I'm going to break it all down to you in this video, but things are not looking good for Floyd Mayweather. There's rumors that they're looking to arrest him. Now he's getting sued for millions more dollars. His downfall is diabolical. And he himself said, any news is good news. He said as long as his name's in the headlines, he's happy. So we're about to torch Floyd Mayweather, and it's exactly what he asked for. But shout out to my guy, Spencer Cornelia, who's been doing all of the reporting on this. He done an amazing update, a breaking news update just yesterday that Floyd Mayweather was sued officially for scamming a boxing promoter. So let's hear what he said. I'm going to break down to you exactly what's going on with Floyd Mayweather's diabolical downfall as it continues day by day.
Managing Floyd Mayweather, they enter into an agreement under which CSI secured the services of Mayweather to fight Tyson. So they have the services. They are the only ones, exclusive services to handle this fight. The Tyson agreement also allows CSI the rights of Mayweather for his training, his lifestyle activities, basically to create a show around the fight. I personally love when they do this, the 4 or 5 part series leading up to the fight. I watch all of that because I really enjoy it. But think about it. What we'll cover in just a second, they're essentially fronting, when they sign the contract, they're fronting millions of dollars to Mayweather. They're promising that they're going to pay him a lot of money. And so they need a way to monetize in any way they can and build up for the fight so that as many eyeballs will either buy the pay-per-view or watch the fight or attend the fight so that they can recoup their investment. The Tyson agreement prohibits Floyd Mayweather from engaging in any other fight before the Mike Tyson fight. This is incredibly important because you want him fighting Mike Tyson next, and then you'll see there's a big super fight coming up after that. But they want to make sure he's not fighting anyone before Mike Tyson. You'll see this come up later. This is one of the biggest issues with the contract. Floyd Mayweather was contractually obligated to make $14 million for the Mike Tyson fight. I really enjoy seeing these numbers because one thing Floyd's done really well over the years is come out and say he makes so much money, $100 million for this fight, $200 million for that fight. While it's possibly true, when you see the actual contract, you see how much he makes. It's entirely possible, given that he's having so many money problems right now, it's possible that maybe he was lying or exaggerating about how much money actually went into his pocket from the fights. Regardless, $14 million, $2 million advance, $12 million to be paid to him one day after the fight. Now, I just mentioned a second ago about CSI investing in this. This is contractually obligated for CSI to pay him that much money. So obviously, they need to recoup first. They need to generate enough money to be able to pay Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson millions and millions and millions of dollars, which is why they want him to fight Mike Tyson next and for them to have all rights to all of his content around the fight.
So he was supposed to be fighting Mike Tyson, right? It was meant to be signed. It was meant to be in the bag. He was fighting Iron Mike, right? Iron Mike Tyson, right? That's the Iron Mike, right? But here's the thing, okay? Floyd Mayweather, he was apparently, okay, he was contracted by the same company under a similar exclusive deal to then fight Manny Pacquiao. So the plan was, as Spencer's breaking it down, he was supposed to be fighting Mike Tyson for $14 million, and that was all going to lead up to the super fight with Manny Pacquiao that was meant to come next.
So how much would Floyd Mayweather get paid to fight Manny Pacquiao? It'd be $35 million base with 20% of event revenues for any pay-per-view component. Down here in the contract, you can see if the fighter is against Manny Pacquiao, it'd be $35 million payday. If it was Ryan Garcia or Rolly Romero or another fighter for a world title bout, the payment would drop to $20 million. But here's the key in the blue. An additional 20% of event revenues after CSI recoups the event budget plus a 20% return. So up here, it's a little misleading. 20% of event revenues of any pay-per-view. When you guys look up on Wikipedia and you see the Conor McGregor's, the huge MMA fights, and Floyd Mayweather, certainly you can do the math. 2 million pay-per-view buys times however much people were paying, that's a huge number. And maybe they were getting a pretty big pay-per-view component. However, something to keep in mind is that the promoter, likely, I imagine for many of the other fights, they recoup their budget first plus a 20% profit. So if the fight doesn't do well, which it's entirely possible it doesn't do as well for him to get paid a super amount, then he would make $35 million plus a small amount after that. However, there was a $50 million buyout if there was no pay-per-view. So if this were to go to a streamer service and there was no pay-per-view component, Floyd Mayweather would make $50 million. And I know on my other videos, there were some mentions that Floyd Mayweather make $150, $200 million from these fights. He's still making multiple 8 figures. Maybe not as much as he used to make, but this is still a really big payday.
So he's meant to be getting these big giant paydays. The Manny Pacquiao they're saying is a $35 million fight. It's insane. Life-changing, earth-shattering numbers. But here's the thing. Despite this exclusive deal, Mayweather then went on to sign a boxing and promotional agreement with another company that would be putting his fights on Netflix. And apparently it would end up being that same fight, the, you know, Manny Pacquiao Part 2 rematch, right? That's what's going down. And they're saying that he gazumped these folks, signed a deal, took some advance, and then hopped on with another person to basically do the same fight.
A month later, December 12, 2025, Mayweather signed a boxing and promotional services agreement with Players Era LLC. They're doing business as Ever Wonder Studios. You'll see that name within this video, so just know that this is a new agreement that he signed with an entity that is not CSI. Keep in mind, CSI is the plaintiff. This is the new company suing Floyd Mayweather for breach of contract. So this contract, this new Ever Wonder Mayweather contract, said that Mayweather would fight Pacquiao on Netflix. What the heck? Because CSI had the rights. This doesn't make sense. They would exclude CSI and entertainment events, their exclusive rights. He's basically going around them and saying, I don't want to deal with you anymore. I'm just going to sign a new agreement to get paid by Ever Wonder Studios and allow them the rights to put on the fight on Netflix. Under this new contract, the Ever Wonder Mayweather contract, Floyd would be getting paid less, $24.75 million with the potential for a little bonus and a $2.75 million deposit, which I thought was odd because if we go back to the previous agreement he signed for the same fight, the Manny Pacquiao fight, he was going to get paid $35 million with the potential upside of some pay-per-view revenue, which given his extensive experience in this industry and his ability to sell fights, he has experience with making a lot of money from pay-per-view, I imagine.
So this is a pretty good deal, to be honest with you. He walking away from a pretty incredible deal, and he was going to be getting 20% of basically the profits after they recoup of the pay-per-view. So it's actually a pretty decent deal that he was getting. Now, according to the lawsuit, Mayweather allegedly bypassed the original agreements. He signed new deals for the Pacquiao fight with Ever Wonder Studios and Netflix, and then he scheduled an unauthorized fight against Mike Zambidis in Greece, the other Iron Mike. And people, I see the comments, right? I'm going to do another video. People are talking about this guy. I said I'd never heard of this other Iron Mike, but apparently he's a serious guy. I don't know if this is true, but I see comments talking about he kills people in the ring. So I'm going to look into that. Let me know if you need to look into that more. Let me know in them comments.
Fight, I'm confused. To make the story even more confusing, CSI wakes up on February 3rd, 2026, and they see that Iron Mike Zambidis posts on his Instagram that he's fighting Floyd Mayweather on June 27th. They're confused because they had an agreement signed by Floyd Mayweather that he would fight Mike Tyson first and then Manny Pacquiao. No other fights allowed. And now they're finding out that he's decided around them, behind their back, he's now fighting a guy in Greece on June 27th? This makes no sense. I'll skip some of the words in the complaint so that I don't bore you with the details, but essentially, CSI now has to amend the agreement because they realize they've been screwed by Floyd. They probably don't want to sue him. February 22, 2026, they reach an agreement between themselves, Mayweather, Frisk Ventures, his management team, and this new company, Ever Wonder. Within 60 days, Frisk would pay CSI Entertainment Events $2.5 million. Earlier in this video, I told you that Floyd received an advance. So they said, just give us back the $2.5 million. They're damaged, obviously, because they're not getting the rights to the fight. However, pay us back the advance and we'll walk away. Additionally, they would pay Mayweather an additional $5 million for the fight following the Pacquiao fight. The reason why they did this is because they also agreed that Ever Wonder, this new company that has the rights now, they would pay CSI Fight Sports $5 million. And this is down here at this highlighted part. CSI realized that, hey, let's get, since Ever Wonder now has the terms, they have the rights to the fight, give us $5 million, we'll turn around, we'll use that $5 million, and now we'll secure the rights to the exclusive rights to Mayweather's next fight after the Pacquiao fight. So CSI, I'm assuming here, they realize that they've been damaged, and to remedy this situation, they say, you know, we're dealing with a fighter that's not going to work with us. How about this? Let's hope he beats Tyson. Let's hope he beats this Iron Mike guy. Let's hope that he beats Manny Pacquiao, and then we'll get the rights to the next fight. Maybe that'll be the super fight that will get paid. And as long as they get paid back their advance, they're theoretically not damaged in any way.
That's actually quite a good out for him, to be honest with you, to say, okay, well, we'll take the next fight. Let's hope that he wins all of these fights. Now, here's the thing. While that was going on, I just looked up in the background, okay? Apparently, this thing about the other Iron Mike killing people in the ring is cap, all right? I just looked this up. Iron Mike Zambidis kill people. It says, no, Mike Iron Zambidis has not killed anyone. While he is legendary and a highly aggressive kickboxer with 87 knockouts and 18 world titles, rumors or online content suggesting he killed people in the ring are false. Misleading content, videos and articles from 2023 to 2026 often use sensationalized titles like accused of 3 deaths in the ring or the most violent K1 fighter to describe his aggressive style and high number of knockouts. Some discussions refer to this as an urban legend that has made him more feared, but there's no verified reports or criminal records of him killing anyone in a fight. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, there's a few videos accused of 3 deaths in the ring. This is the type of thing that they're talking about. 3 men died after fighting Mike Zambidis. Well, everyone dies on a long enough timeline, okay? Everyone that Floyd Mayweather has ever fought will eventually die after fighting him. So that's a load of nonsense. But anyway, that is probably part of the promotional material for this fight. And I get what they're trying to do there. But at the end of the day, I was thinking, okay, now I see why Floyd's fighting this guy. But no, it's a load of cap. But anyway, Floyd Mayweather apparently also demanded $150,000 as part of this deal in physical cash rather than a bank transfer. And I wonder why he did that. I wonder if the IRS would want to know why he would want to get 150 racks in pure cash as part of these deals. Not very professional.
Here's the situation with that $150,000 in cash. So under the Tyson agreement, if Mayweather was able to complete his medicals before the fight, ensuring that the fight was underway, then he would receive $150,000 in cash. But here's the catch, is that Mayweather advised CSI that he would prefer to receive the $150,000 in cash. And they knew his persona, the Money Mayweather persona, they knew he was all about cash, but now they're realizing, no, he really is about cash. It's 2026, forget digital money, we want to deal with cash. And what's interesting about this, for me, is that to see how much leverage these fighters have, this is absurd. It's 2026, I'm not giving you cash, I'm giving you digital. We want, it's much easier to keep a trail of money, especially with someone like Mayweather, who is clearly already breached agreements. I would not have any trust towards him at this moment. However, with all the leverage, and CSI probably still believe that they can make tens of millions of dollars by having the rights to promote and put on one of his fights, they agreed to give the installment payment in cash. CSI's owners, the Mielis, arranged to meet Mayweather at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, California to deliver the cash in person. This is absurd to me. These are two business owners, probably pretty busy. They're out in New York, New Jersey, I believe. They're on the East Coast. They fly out to the West Coast to meet with Mayweather in person to acquiesce to his demands. However, on their way, Floyd advised them that he was not coming and instead sent a female companion. So these guys are willing to bend over to send him cash instead of wiring money. And he doesn't even have the common courtesy to meet them in person. That's a red flag. So she ended up receiving and counting the 150 grand on Mayweather's behalf. Even better is the exhibit of the picture they took of her literally counting the cash at what looks like a tablecloth dinner. This is a CSI bag. I imagine they came with the cash in bag and they gave it to his assistant and of course took a picture because this is the only way to verify that you actually gave her money. But
that's crazy, right? They got a custom Louis Vuitton bag with CSI stamped on it, and then the girl's counting out the money, and they taking a picture of that. They said that was in a conference room at the hotel. Like, what on earth? This is not a very professional way of doing business. But regardless, okay, from here, CSI is now changing their tune. All right, the new lawsuit basically says they're now seeking a permanent injunction. They're trying to stop Floyd Mayweather from fighting Iron Mike Zambidis, Mr. Three Fake Bodies, and they want to enforce the original agreements. They're saying this whole De La Hoya fight, this is our shit. This is us. Like, us. This was our idea. Stick to the original agreement. And Mike Tyson too.
Reaching his agreement. Plaintiffs, the CSI entities, are therefore entitled to a permanent injunction. If you're not aware, this is a final court order that legally requires a person or entity to permanently stop a specific action. Because at this point, they have a signed agreement. They don't want him fighting because what if Floyd shows his age? What if he gets smacked around a little bit? What if I think it's an exhibition, but what if he loses? What if he doesn't look good? All of that, or gets knocked out, anything. If he's bad enough that people no longer are interested in him as a fighter, that could damage them. They might not make nearly as much money from the Mike Tyson or Manny Pacquiao fights. So this is really important. They want the injunction to bar Mayweather from fighting again on June 27, 2026. They prohibit him from fighting anyone other than Tyson because that's what he has signed and agreed to in the agreement, before he honors his obligation to fight Tyson, and prevents Mayweather from fighting anyone other than Pacquiao. This seemed very...
So basically, they're trying to say, look, shut down all of this stuff. He can't fight anyone else other than Mike Tyson, and you can't fight anyone other than Manny Pacquiao after that. That was our plan, okay? So this is all really bad. Obviously, we'd heard about some of this previously, but now it is made official in the new lawsuit, and we know exactly what they're asking for. And it's going viral absolutely everywhere. Redditors are now discussing that Mayweather could indeed be going broke. They're saying, how did Floyd Mayweather go broke with a net worth of $1 billion? How is this even possible, right? They're saying, watch his interviews. When he brags about spending $1 million in a day, he's not even lying or exaggerating. Plus, your net worth isn't how much money you actually physically have in the bank. It's just how much money you could theoretically obtain should you sell your assets for their base value. Says he bought the roller skating rink I used to frequent as a teen living in the suburbs of Las Vegas. When I first read that he did that, I had to do a double take. The place was called the Crystal Palace. All right. They're saying, I heard Floyd being described as organically stupid. Dave Hall, Mayweather's account in the early 2000s, said Mayweather spent heavily without setting aside enough to pay his taxes. That'll do it, all right? He's going to have to learn to read now so that he can get that money 50 offered him years ago, all right? I'm sure being illiterate didn't help. as well as being repeatedly hit in the head for a living. Not really too handy, is it? It says it's not entirely clear that he's actually broke, although the recent headlines aren't looking so good. But it's really pretty simple. He spends more money than he makes. Keep in mind, $1 billion is his estimated gross. Close to half of that goes to taxes. His agent gets a significant fee, and now he's suing his manager, claiming that he's embezzled money from him. So who knows how much of that income he's actually seen? But you can see how the spending adds up. The watch he allegedly wrote a bad check for was 200 grand. He has cars that cost over $1 million each, houses that probably cost tens of millions, private jets and yachts that are expensive to maintain. Rich athletes like this tend to have hanger-ons, friends from their youth that stick around and probably get a ton of free stuff from him. Mike Tyson once supposedly went to a Ferrari dealer to get a car and then decided on impulse to buy 2 more for his friends. Mayweather, while a brilliant boxer, is not considered an intelligent person outside of boxing. He's had multiple domestic violence incidents, and he reportedly only reads at about a 5th grade level. Hopefully someone was setting money aside for him, but who knows? Now he may be cash strapped, but it's unlikely he's truly insolvent. He's got very valuable assets and multiple streams of revenue. He just might need to cool it on spending for a while. Says his trouble is because he's such a horrible person, he doesn't get any sponsorship deals and never really has, so he doesn't have the same opportunities. All right, people saying it's deserved. He recently bought an $18 million watch that was only valued at $2 to $3 million. He had to pawn and loan out $15 million worth of jewelry to get cash. Every house he's ever owned had 10 to 15 supercars in it each. He's allegedly got over 100 cars. He spends anywhere from $1 to $5 million a month. He has a group of armed security guards with him 24/7. He bought 2 jets, which he's since had to sell. He's no longer earning money, but kept the lifestyle that he had when he was doing these fights. Floyd also was never worth $1 billion. His overall earnings were about $1 billion. He was worth between $1 and $400 million. He's broke, but still rich compared to us. He owns a lot of stuff, but has a cash flow problem to keep up with the lifestyle. When you look at everything he bought, it's honestly not surprising that he's broke. It all comes down to his spending being outrageous. His cars and properties' nominal value don't add much to the problem. Most of the cars he buys aren't on typical depreciation curves, and he'll probably sell them for at least what he paid, but the maintenance cost on a lot of them are significant, and that's money out the door. Same thing with properties. They likely didn't decrease in value while he owned them, but property taxes and maintenance on those properties is hundreds of thousands a month out the door. The big ones are jewelry, clothes, and lifestyle. The watches that he didn't customize will age well in terms of value, but he customized a ton of them for huge sums, and he'll never recover the value from those. Same thing with his jewelry. He frequently brags about having tens or hundreds of millions in jewelry, and he'll be lucky to get back 5 to 10% of what he spent there. Clothes are the same. Thousands per outfit that are a loss on each item. 2 decades of buying clothes like that, it adds up. Then nights out at clubs, vacations, planes, etc. Anyone who can do simple math has known for the last decade at least that he would eventually go broke if something didn't change. It was only a matter of time. He also gambled like an absolute idiot. Apparently he's spent millions of dollars on very stupid bets. All right. Travels with his trainers, assistants, security, friends, leeches. Many people have company cards or access to his belongings like jewelry and cash, plus spending stupid amounts of money. Right? So that's the latest update with Floyd Mayweather, man. I feel like it would be super interesting just from a sociological perspective to see him go completely broke after doing $1 million in career earnings. I would just like to see how that pans out. Like, what happens? Like, sometimes I wonder with these rich people, it's like you get to a certain level of wealth and it seems like nothing can really touch you. There's always a way out. The average person on the street that's struggling day to day, they're not getting access to these things. For some reason, these rich guys, the billionaires, the ultra wealthy, there's always a way. Like, it just never seems to catch up with him. So I would actually like to see what happens. Like, would he actually be penniless? There just seems to be no way. He'll always fight. But if he loses one of these fights, he's still 50-0. If he loses just one of these fights, his market value is going in the toilet. Okay? The golden toilet that he probably spent $10 million on, right? That's in his guest house. So I will be following this with interest. I'll let you guys know if I hear anything else, but this is getting worse and worse by the day for Floyd Mayweather. And I'm all here for it. So I'll be keeping track of the money team. They could be... You know what I'm saying? They could be it could be the toilet paper team for all we know at this point, okay? But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.